The South China Sea, it's not just a body of water, it's the most volatile strategic chessboard on Earth. On one side, you have China, a colossal giant armed with an immense military, a booming economy, and a seemingly unshakable will to dominate. On the other, the Philippines, a nation often perceived as small, scattered, and outmatched. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comments, and I will give you a heart. You've seen the clips, reckless acts of Chinese warships chasing smaller Philippine patrol boats. You've heard the analysts, China is too big, too powerful. But what if everything you've been told is fundamentally wrong? What if the conventional wisdom, the idea that might always makes right, is about to be shattered by a nation that refuses to play by those old rules? This isn't just about naval power or territorial claims. This is about location, history, a web of unbreakable alliances, and the sheer unyielding determination of a people who refuse to back down. The Philippines may look like a tiny island chain on the map compared to China, but its position gives it an advantage that even the strongest military cannot easily erase. And here's the shocking truth. China can't defeat the Philippines anymore. You heard that right. Not because the Philippines has bigger weapons, but because they possess a unique combination of factors that makes them virtually unsinkable in this modern geopolitical struggle. And understanding why China can't defeat the Philippines anymore will fundamentally change how you view power, resilience, and even your own ability to stand firm against overwhelming odds in your own life. What if the blueprint for overcoming impossible challenges isn't found in brute force, but in a clever, strategic blend of law, alliances, and an indomitable spirit? Stay with me because in this video, we'll uncover the real reasons why the Philippines holds the upper hand in ways many people do not realize, and how that very resilience can empower you. Before we move forward, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the Philippines and the world. Your support helps us bring more important content straight to you. Today we're going to break down exactly why China can't defeat the Philippines. First, we'll expose the historical and geographical iron curtain that has always protected the Philippines. Then we'll dive into the unbreakable shield of international law and powerful alliances that China simply cannot penetrate. Finally, we're going to reveal the economic traps and the unyielding spirit of the Filipino people that make any Chinese victory a Pyrrhic one, and how this quiet strength is building to a global climax that should give us all hope. And here is something to think about. If China pushes too far, the question is not only about the Philippines standing alone, but about which nations would step in. Some would be ready to defend the Philippines, while others would lean toward China. We already made a full video about this, and you can find the link in the description if you want to dive deeper after this one. But what if the strongest defense isn't a weapon at all, but a belief? That's where the real story begins. The Philippines has never been a country that bows down easily. For centuries, its people have shown resilience against stronger powers that try to take control of its land and resources. It's a history etched in blood and unwavering spirit. Imagine living under foreign rule for over 300 years, like the Philippines did under Spain. Most nations would simply break, but Filipinos fought in countless revolts, proving that they would not simply accept foreign domination. They formed secret societies, launched uprisings, and bled for their freedom. Later, during the American period, the Philippines again resisted, showing that independence and self-rule were worth fighting for, even against a much stronger military. This wasn't passive acceptance, it was active, fierce resistance. Then came World War II, a chapter that added another layer to this long history of defiance. When Japan invaded, Filipino and American soldiers stood together in battles like Batanan and Corregidor. Even after brutal occupation, local guerrilla fighters kept resisting until liberation finally came. These moments in history remind us of a powerful pattern. Whenever the Philippines has been challenged by a larger power, its people have united, fought back, and kept their identity alive. This history is critical to remember today. It shows that the spirit of resistance runs deep in the Philippines. It is not just about weapons or armies, but about determination and unity. And this same history shapes how the Philippines stands its ground in the face of new challenges from powerful countries in the region, particularly China. But this historical resilience is only half the story. The other half is written on the map itself. The Philippines may look small compared to China on a map, but its geography gives it a powerful advantage. Imagine trying to conquer a country made up of over 7,000 islands. It's like trying to catch smoke. This isn't a flat, open plain. It's a labyrinth of water and land, a natural fortress designed by nature itself. Sitting right in the center of Southeast Asia, the country controls important sea routes that connect the Pacific Ocean to the Indian Ocean. These waters carry some of the busiest trade lines in the world, with ships transporting energy, goods, and resources every single day. We're talking trillions of dollars in global commerce flowing through these narrow passages. Any country that controls these routes holds a strategic position that cannot be ignored. The Philippines literally holds the keys to the global economy's most vital arteries. This fragmented geography makes it incredibly harder for any foreign power, including China, to truly dominate the entire country. Even if one area is captured, others can still resist and continue the fight. During World War II, the same geography helped Filipino guerrillas survive and fight back even when large cities were occupied. It's a strategic nightmare for any invading force. Imagine trying to secure thousands of islands, each a potential stronghold for resistance. On top of that, the Philippines is surrounded by allies and partners who also depend on these same waters for trade and security. That means the country is never isolated. Geography places the Philippines at the heart of international interest, and this makes any potential conflict far more complex and costly for China. But here's where things get worse for China. Beyond the physical geography, the Philippines possesses a human terrain that is equally formidable. Imagine an entire population deeply rooted in their islands, intimately familiar with every cove, every mountain pass, every hidden path. This is not just land, it is their land. And unlike a conventional military, this human terrain is everywhere. Every fisherman on his boat, every farmer in his field, every local resident in a coastal village becomes a potential scout, a reporter, a silent guardian. In today's interconnected world, any movement, any aggression by Chinese forces would be instantly observed, documented, and shared. This hyper-local knowledge and vigilance makes large-scale clandestine operations by China incredibly difficult, if not impossible. The fog of war clears when millions of eyes are watching. The dense island chains also lend themselves to asymmetric warfare, a fancy term for when a smaller, weaker force uses unconventional tactics to fight a larger, stronger one. Think of it like 1,000 tiny mosquitoes swarming a giant. Each mosquito individually is no threat, but together they can drive a giant mad. This is why China can't defeat the Philippines through sheer military size. They would be fighting an invisible, adaptable enemy that knows every inch of the battlefield. This combination of historical resilience and geographic advantage has shaped the Philippines into something far more than just a nation. It's a living, breathing fortress. But this fortress also has an outer wall, one built not of stone, but of international agreements and powerful friends. And it's this next layer that makes China's ambitions truly impossible. If you're finding this deep dive fascinating, give us a quick like on this video. It tells us you're hungry for the real truth behind the headlines. One of the strongest cards the Philippines holds, a card that China simply cannot ignore without crippling its own global ambitions, is international law. Imagine a referee in a basketball game. China keeps fouling, but the referee, the world, has blown the whistle and the call is clear. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague made a clear, undeniable decision in favor of the Philippines. The tribunal ruled that China's sweeping claims over the South China Sea, based on its so-called 9-dash line, had no legal basis. This was a landmark victory because it confirmed that large parts of the waters are within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. In simple terms, this means that those waters legally belong to the Philippines, not China. Even though China rejected the ruling, it remains legally binding under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. Most countries around the world recognize this decision and continue to call on China to respect it. This gives the Philippines a strong foundation in global diplomacy. By standing on the side of international law, the Philippines is not alone. It has the support of the wider global community that values rules and order at sea. This legal victory might not stop China from sending ships, but it strengthens the Philippines' position in every negotiation and every alliance, turning China into a global pariah if it continues to violate the ruling. But China's problem doesn't end there. They're not just fighting a legal battle, they're facing a global net of allies that is tightening around them. And the biggest threat in that net comes from a familiar face. But here's where things get even more complicated for China. One of the biggest advantages, a truly game-changing factor that means China can't defeat the Philippines, is its long-standing ironclad alliance with the United States. Think of it like this. China is a schoolyard bully, but the Philippines has a really big protective older brother who's also the strongest kid in school. The two countries are bound by the Mutual Defense Treaty signed way back in 1951. This isn't a handshake agreement, it's a legally binding promise. It means that if either one is attacked in the Pacific, the other is obligated to help. In recent years, Washington has repeatedly and unequivocally confirmed that this treaty covers the South China Sea. This is crucial. It means if China directly attacks Philippine vessels or forces in the disputed waters, the US is legally bound to intervene. The United States also has some of the most advanced military technology in the world, along with strong naval and air power. Through joint training, intelligence sharing, and modern equipment support, the US helps strengthen the Philippine military. Bases in the Philippines are also being modernized under agreements like the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, giving both countries a stronger presence right in China's backyard. These are not just military exercises, these are rehearsals for defending shared interests. This partnership sends a clear, unmistakable message. The Philippines is not standing alone in the face of growing pressure from China. With the backing of one of the world's strongest militaries, the balance of power becomes far more even. This is not just a defensive alliance, it's a deterrent. China knows that escalating a conflict with the Philippines means escalating a conflict with the United States. And that's a fight even China is desperate to avoid. But the US isn't the only powerful ally. Beyond the United States, the Philippines also has support from other powerful countries in the region that share concerns about China's growing influence. Imagine a circle of friends, all agreeing that a bully needs to be held accountable. Japan is one of the closest partners, providing Coast Guard vessels, surveillance equipment, and defense training to help the Philippines guard its waters. Tokyo sees the South China Sea as vital for global trade and wants to keep the sea routes open and secure. Japan's economic lifeline depends on these waters, so their support for the Philippines is not just altruism, it's self-preservation. Australia is another strong supporter. It has stepped up joint exercises with the Philippine military and is working to strengthen defense cooperation. Both countries share a commitment to keeping the region free and stable. These aren't just symbolic gestures. They are real, tangible steps to boost the Philippines' defensive capabilities and show a united front against Chinese aggression. Even nations like Vietnam, which also clashes with China over territory, find common ground with the Philippines. Their cooperation may not be as deep, but their shared interests create room for stronger ties and a collective voice. The latest news often highlights these regional partnerships as a critical counterweight to China's expansion. Together, these regional allies show that the Philippines is not isolated. It has partners nearby who understand the risks and are willing to stand alongside it. This network of alliances acts as a multi-layered shield, making any direct military action by China not just difficult, but diplomatically and strategically disastrous. If you haven't yet, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. You're getting insights here that the mainstream media rarely connects, and you don't want to miss our next deep dive. For a long time, China could scoff at the Philippines' military capabilities, but one of the most important steps the Philippines has taken in recent years, proving why China can't defeat the Philippines, is modernizing its military. Imagine upgrading from a rusty old bicycle to a high-tech, precision-engineered machine. For a long time, the country relied on outdated ships, aircraft, and equipment, which made it difficult to defend its seas. But now the government is investing heavily in new technology and stronger defense systems. This modernization is not about matching China's massive military power ship for ship or jet for jet. That would be impossible. Instead, it's about building a credible asymmetric defense that can protect the nation and discourage aggression. It's about being smarter, not just bigger. The Philippines has been acquiring new fighter jets, advanced naval ships, coastal defense missiles, and radar systems to monitor its waters. These upgrades improve not only the strength of the armed forces, but also their ability to work seamlessly with allies like the United States, Japan, and Australia. Training programs and joint exercises have also helped Filipino soldiers and sailors gain invaluable experience in modern warfare strategies. While the Philippines still faces limits in size and budget, this modernization sends a clear message. The Philippines is not standing still or relying only on others for protection. It is taking responsibility for its own defense and preparing to face challenges with stronger tools and better readiness. This steady progress makes the Philippines a more resilient and confident nation in the face of rising tensions, turning their smaller force into a highly effective, modern deterrent. But there's an even deeper reason, one rooted in culture and economy, why China will never truly win. And that's where the final piece of the puzzle lies. One of the strongest reasons China can't defeat the Philippines is something no weapon can conquer: the unshakable spirit of the Filipino people. Imagine a tree that has weathered countless storms, bending but never breaking. That's the Filipino spirit. Throughout history, Filipinos have faced colonization, brutal wars, natural disasters like typhoons and earthquakes, and countless economic challenges. Yet they always stood firm and kept their identity alive. This same spirit can be seen today in the way communities come together in times of crisis, how soldiers and fishermen show bravery in protecting their seas, and how families, despite hardship, maintain an incredible resilience and sense of hope. Morale is often as important as weapons in a conflict. A country that believes in its cause, that stands united in its defense, can outlast even a stronger opponent. For Filipinos, defending their land and their future is not just about strategy. It's about pride, about heritage, and about an unwavering love for their nation. That determination makes the Philippines a much harder target than many realize. It means even if China were to win a battle, they would face an endless, grinding resistance from a population unwilling to yield. The human cost alone for China would be astronomical, and that's a price they cannot afford. And speaking of costs, there's a colossal economic trap waiting for China if it pushes too far. Another critical reason why China can't defeat the Philippines is the catastrophic economic risks it would face. China's entire modern economy depends heavily on global trade and stability. Imagine a complex machine humming along with one critical exposed wire. That wire is the South China Sea. If China were to push too far against the Philippines, instigating a major conflict, it would trigger devastating international sanctions, severely damage its relations with crucial trading partners worldwide, and shatter the trust that fuels its vast trade networks. Even a small conflict could disrupt shipping lanes in the South China Sea, where trillions of dollars in goods pass every single year. A disruption here would send shockwaves through the global economy, directly impacting China's own imports and exports. China also relies heavily on these waters for its own energy imports and exports. Any fighting here would instantly raise shipping costs, insurance rates, and global tensions. This would not only hurt China's economy, but also put immense pressure on its government at home, where stability depends entirely on steady economic growth and prosperity. This way, the economic consequences of conflict make it much harder, if not impossible, for China to simply overpower and pavilions without hurting itself far more in the process. It would be an act of economic self-destruction. Before we wrap up, if this information is changing your perspective, hit that share button. Let your friends and family in the Philippines and around the world know the real story. The world is watching every move in the West Philippine Sea. In today's hyper-connected world, nothing stays hidden for long, especially not the actions of global powers. When tension rises between China and the Philippines, the global media picks it up fast. International communities speak out and major organizations begin to respond. This intense, inescapable global attention puts immense pressure on China to act carefully. Any aggressive step, any clear violation of international law can severely damage its image as a responsible world power. Countries in Europe, Asia, and the Americas often speak up in support of the Philippines when they see clear violations of maritime rules. This kind of attention brings both moral and diplomatic support to the Philippines, and it helps create a stronger, unified voice against unfair actions. Global attention also gives the Philippines a powerful platform to explain its side to the world, mobilizing public opinion and garnering sympathy. That support can lead to more partnerships, more aid, and more trust from the international community. In this way, even a smaller country can stand strong when the world is watching, because the court of public opinion can be more powerful than any fleet of ships. The latest news isn't just news, it's a global judgment, and China is constantly on trial. As we close this discussion, one thing stands out clearly. The Philippines may not have the size or military power of China, but strength is not measured only in numbers. It is also found in unity, in determination, and in the belief that sovereignty is worth defending at all costs. This is why China can't defeat the Philippines. Throughout history, Filipinos have proven that even in the face of great challenges, they do not back down. That spirit is alive today, and it is one of the strongest reasons why China can't defeat the Philippines. This struggle is not only about borders or natural resources. It represents something larger. It is about the right of a nation to stand firm, to be respected, and to be treated as an equal on the global stage. Every move the Philippines makes is being watched around the world, and every act of defiance sends a powerful message that smaller nations are not powerless. The Philippines' alliances, its modernization, and the unwavering support of its people all combine to create an image of resilience that goes far beyond military strength. What makes this even more significant is the symbolism behind it. The stand of the Philippines is a reminder to every nation and to you that freedom and dignity are not given, they are defended. You came here to understand a geopolitical conflict. I hope you're leaving with a transformed understanding of resilience and the incredible power of a united people. This lesson isn't just for nations, it's for individuals. It's about standing your ground, leveraging your allies, and building an unshakable spirit in your own life, no matter how big the challenge seems. If you enjoyed this video and feel more informed, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who cares about the future of the Philippines and the lessons it holds for us all. Your support helps us continue creating content that shines a light on important issues shaping the nation and the world. And let us know in the comments, what do you think is the single strongest reason why China can't defeat the Philippines? We always love hearing your thoughts. See you for another video where we'll dive even deeper into how this new era of global power is directly impacting your finances and your future. Click here to watch next.